All right. Feeney Talks with Friends, episode 132. We got a great podcast here today with some wonderful friends from the Empower group. We're getting to know each other on the podcast. This is great. Our missions really align, so I'm very excited to talk with you. They're a nonprofit. We're here with Christina.
Hi.
And Tommy.
How you doing?
Pretty good. Again, this is Feeney Talks with Friends. I use this podcast to talk to wonderful people in the community that are doing great things. And you guys have been doing great things in the community for how long now?
So Empower started back in 2013, but it actually hasn't been in Connecticut since it started in 2019 in Connecticut. So
Nice.
it started off in Massachusetts, and then we're the first state after Massachusetts when they expanded.
So third grade math is 12 years, but 6 years in Connecticut.
That's correct. Yep.
That's awesome. No, and it started with Cara Belvin.
Yeah. Yep.
Cara Belvin.
Yes.
We started off already saying how our missions align. I started this when one of my students lost her dad unexpectedly by a heart attack. Gabby Sohn, who's now graduated from college, want to bring her up as a wonderful mentor, possibly. And then the following year, one of my students, Rashad, lost his dad in Hartford. I was a new dad at the time. From a divorced family, I knew who I was. Not to see my dad every once in a while, I could never imagine never seeing him again, especially as a child. So, I don't know. Your Cara the founder, Cara,
Yeah.
lost her mother at an early age.
Very early
Right?
age. Yep.
You want to elaborate?
Sure. So Cara is actually from Southington, Connecticut. And she was 7, I believe, when she lost her mom. And actually, Tommy has more of a personal connection with Cara. So if you want to share that, Tommy.
So I've known Cara since I was probably 4 or 5 years old. We lived down the street from Cara and her family. My sister Amy was very close friends with her. Cara lost her mom, Kit. I believe she was 9 to cancer. And a few years later, it's when my mom passed away. So we, kind of had that in common growing up.
Yeah, and then she knew how it was to deal with the loss of a loved one. So what age did she finally want to develop and form this nonprofit? Well, it was 2013.
2013. So, at that point, she was married, had kids, and she just knew she wanted to give back because for a very long time, she felt like she was the only one that she knew that was going through something like that. And as somebody who's lost a mom too, and I was really young, I can relate to that because you feel like you're the only person to this day, I was like the only person that I know that lost their mom until I met everybody at Empower. And that was kind of like Cara always said, she's felt like an alien on her own planet. Like she didn't have anybody that she could connect with. No one kind of knew what she was going through. But in reality, there's a lot of people that were just like her.
Yeah. Why do you think that is? Is that just a personal inner thought, or people don't want to speak about it, or it's just not out in the open?
I definitely think that there was a stigma about not speaking about it. Even I was growing up when I was 11 when I lost my mom. We didn't talk about it. It was not something that, you brought up with your family. It happened and people knew about it, but it's also hard to navigate that. Like, how do you talk to somebody who is 11 that did lose a parent? Like, what do you, even as an adult, some adults would be afraid to say something because they weren't really sure what to say. So I think that by changing this kind of idea of like it's okay to talk about your grief and it's okay to know that there's other people out there that like you or that are like you, and that's what Empower does. It connects girls and boys and helps them support them, and it empowers them to say it's okay to talk about your grief.
Yeah. Oh, wow, that's amazing. Because I've heard so many people say, hey, I wish this for Friends of Feeney. Our mission is to help children and families that need assistance after heartbreak or tragedy. And a lot of people have lost their parents were like, I wish this was around when I was a kid. I hear that so many times. Or, Feeney, I lost my dad, and I want to give back to your cause because it truly hits home. So I'm sure you hear that all the time.
I hear it all the time, and I also lived it too. I've said I wish there was something like this when I was growing up because I always just thought it was normal not to talk about the death of my mom, and that's not the case. It's actually really important to talk about it and to connect with people that are just like you. So
yeah.
I was a program coordinator, and now I'm matching people with the same type of loss, and I always say to the mentors that I match, I'm like, yes, it's about the youth, but also for the mentor, it's something that you probably never even knew you needed. And it's
Yeah.
so powerful.
Wow, let's get right into becoming a volunteer. There's thousands of volunteers with programs over here. You're looking for mentors, volunteer age 25 and older,
Correct.
that has experienced a loss of a parent at any age.
Yep.
And to become a mentor, you can go to weempower.org.
Mm-hmm.
That's a very powerful. Yeah, please, check it out. Weempower.org.
We
Wonderful.
are Empower.
We are Empower.
.org, yep.
.org. Wonderful website.
Yep.
It has your story, the volunteers, upcoming events. I love the website. I learned a lot about it. And then we're just looking for, we're also looking for volunteers. And if you know someone out there that can be helped by this wonderful organization, please reach out.
Yes.
Same, weareempower.org.
Yep. So any youth that has had parent loss, mother, father, both, sometimes it's both, we service youth 6 to 24. And it's very simple to enroll them. Anybody can enroll them. Somebody from school can enroll them. A counselor can enroll them. A guardian could enroll them. And they just go right onto the website to enroll, and then they get processed over to the program coordinators.
Nice.
And then we do meet and greets with the family, so we get to know them. And then we also do the same thing for mentors. If you're interested in being a mentor, same thing, you can enroll on the website, and we do meet and greets with the mentors.
That's great.
And then it's a little bit more comprehensive for the mentors. We make sure we do background checks and we reference checks, and there's a training that they have to go to. But yeah, and then we kind of, once all that happens, then we kind of look at see who would make the best match. And we don't just match to match, which is something that's really important to know too. We really take into consideration likes, hobbies, sometimes type of loss is important. But that's all taken into consideration. Geography is also taken into consideration because, it is Connecticut. It's a small state, but it's still a far drive if you're, in the eastern part of Connecticut and you're being matched with somebody in the western part of Connecticut. So that's really important too.
I know. I was going to say, you just don't randomly put people together.
No.
There is background, and it's a data-driven decision.
It's a data-driven decision, yes.
Teacher talk.
Teacher talk.
And then how did you get involved, Tom?
So like I said earlier, I grew up with Cara. Cara was a good friend of my sister Amy. Cara lost her mom. We had moved away. Cara and Amy, kind of stayed in touch. They were still friends. And then being in law enforcement, I'm a detective here in Connecticut, and we had a call where a child lost their parent to suicide. And unfortunately, a few years later, the mother passed away for medical conditions. And, knowing that what Cara was doing for Empower Her for girls, I reached out to her and said, I have this girl that lost, both of her parents now, and they have a son. She has a brother as well, and I'd really like to see what we can do. And at that point, Cara had said, well, I'm trying to work. We just got some donations in, and they're going to work with boys and girls now. So when she told me that, I was like, I'm in. If I can help volunteer, if I could become a mentor. You really have to want it. You want to be there. And like we were talking earlier, you have to go through that process yourself. And there really wasn't anything for us back then, and I don't think that it just wasn't talked about. Just people didn't know how to approach it with the young kids,
Yeah.
I can remember when I was young, again, I was 12 years old, and my father brought us to a counseling session, and when the counselor's crying with you when you're supposed to help you, it's like, what do you so I was kind of turned off to any type of therapy at that point. I actually seek the support through school counselors, and they were great, and if I needed to talk to them, so I was able to work through it then. And again, you're talking that there's a stigma about it, and I've always had that perception of somebody always has it worse off than you. I was like, why did this happen to me? Why did I lose my mom? Why did why do we have to go through this? We have such a beautiful family. And the following year at school, I had a friend that lost both of her parents. So that made me realize, hey, somebody always has it worse off than you do. People families go through some tragic events in life. but there's always somebody there that's struggling harder, or or dealing with harder stuff. Doesn't mean that yours is any less tragic, but you kind of put that into perspective, and it helps you. So through all of that, I talked to Cara and said, hey, listen, anything that I can do in Southington, anything I can help with sponsorship and being a mentor, and volunteering, it is a great cause.
Have you been a mentor?
I am scheduled as a mentor, but I haven't yet.
Okay.
Unfortunately, like with this young boy that is in my neighborhood, I don't want to say I'm a mentor to him. I'm there for him. I talk to him here and there, but talking with Empower and Cara and Christina and everything, I think it's too close to home to be right there with him to serve the purpose of what their mission is. But I'm like, whenever I get a match, I'll take a match on, and we're trying to do other events, which I'm sure we'll talk about at some point. But I'm just trying to be there for whatever they need.
Yeah. And for a mentor, you need a 1-year commitment.
Yep. So
4 to 6 hours a month.
Yep, 4 to 6 hours a month, 1-year commitment we look at. And obviously we always hope that you'll stay in that person's life forever. But we basically monitor you for that 1 year. We do little check-ins. I'll either text you, or we'll call, or have a little Zoom call, and just to kind of check in and see how everything is going with the match. And
Nice.
we just try to keep base and keep
Do
touch.
they go to movies, the parks, sporting events?
They can do anything like that. So it depends on like the mentor and what they like and what their hobbies are. I have mentors that go on hikes, and they do the whole, they spend 4 hours at a clip together. And I have some mentors that like to space it out, and they do like 2 hours here, and they'll go grab coffee, and then they'll do 2 hours another week, and they'll go to like, they go biking or something. So
Nice.
there's lots of different things that have
Do the mentors
happened.
get a stipend for events?
It is all volunteer driven.
Nice.
So
Okay.
it's all volunteer. But we do events. So sometimes if we're hosting an event, we had a cooking class, for example, in Southington, and all the mentors and the mentees are invited, and that's free of charge. So all of our events that we do are always free of charge to the families.
Yep.
And everything we do is free of charge to the families. But that's also a free of charge event for the mentors too. So they can come to that event, and we had like 15 girls there and mentors. So
cool.
we all just like cooked and made pizzas and brownies, and it was like a really great time. And it's just to look around the room and know that like everybody in that room is the same as you is so powerful.
Yeah. I love the empower. Do you know the origin where we got? We all know what the word means,
Yep.
but like why and how?
So it
I
started
think-
off as EmpowerHER. So
Okay.
when it first started, because it was just for girls of mother loss when Cara first started it. And then once it changed over to all youth, it changed just to Empower. So I have a feeling it's probably the same idea of that you're kind of like leading towards being empowered
Yeah.
to like share your story.
No, I love it. And there's currently 52 kids enrolled in Connecticut.
Yep. So that's boys and girls. And then we have over about 15 matches currently right now. We have some matches after the 1 year mark, but we stay in touch with them.
Can they extend the mentorship after a year, or you just kind of hang out on your own?
Right. So you're just not monitored so much by us,
Gotcha.
but I have lots of matches that are still very active, and they're still hanging out and doing great things. So yeah.
Man.
You build that connection.
You do.
Yeah.
I mean, especially like Christina's saying, going out with somebody for 5 hours a month or 2 hours in a day, it's not that you're just talking about the grief that you're dealing with. You're there to support them, in any way that you can. I know another one of our good friends, Jeff, was a mentor, and he tells us a story how he helped the boy buy a car. And he was like, all right, show me some cars that you're looking at. He knows a little bit more mechanically inclined or whatever, and he's like, so it's not just about that. It's about being there all around for them, as support and a friend.
You may or may not talk about your tragedies
Right.
together,
Right.
or you may learn how to tie a tie or
Right.
fix a car.
Exactly. It's not like required. It's not like you have to talk about the loss. It just kind of comes up organically, which we
Yeah.
kind of like.
Yeah.
We encourage mentors to be like on the ready for it. And that some things might, Mother's Day, for example, or Father's Day, for example, might be difficult. So kind of like how to navigate those times or birthdays that come up. So I like to try to make sure the mentors know of dates that are like important to the mentee, so they're prepared for those tough conversations that could come up. It's not that it's required.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I have this shout out I'd like to read. What minute are we so we know the shout out? read it my best. 14. Empower is a nonprofit, and its mission is to help kids, teens, and young adults who have experienced the heartbreaking loss of a parent. They provide a community of support through one's life's toughest challenge. Empower hosts events that offer peer support and a unique one-on-one mentor program with positive role models from the community who help teach that loss is survivable. Empower serves over 700 children and young adults. With all activities, no charge to the family. Empower is active in 8 regions across the United States and in London. If you know a child who can benefit from Empower's mission or you're interested in mentoring, please visit weempower.org to learn more. How'd I do?
Good. We are empowered.
Oh, did I keep jacking that up? We empower. We are empower.
Yeah. It's the double letter for the we and the E of empower. That's why.
Yeah. I think making excuses for me, but it's not that. It's me. I appreciate that, though. I teach reading, 3rd grade, you know. You think I know how to read by now, but... All right, speaking of which, now let's see. Let's test your knowledge. Don't look.
I don't know.
8 anchor regions. We're in the southern New England. I'll give you 1.
Well, it's southern New England. Yeah, we have Denver.
Denver.
Yep.
2.
New York. Washington, D.C. area.
4.
Los Angeles.
5.
North Carolina.
6.
Chicago.
7.
And Southeast Florida.
Nice.
Yep.
Those are your 8 anchor regions. Why are those anchor regions? Are they picked for a particular reason? Do they have friends and network? I'm sure like Kira's friends are there to support her in these spots.
Or they're just where there's kind of like a lot of mentors and mentees. Currently, we also serve other places. Like I have some families in like Rhode Island, for example. So even though I'm based in Connecticut, I still dabble a little bit in Rhode Island.
Yep.
The thing important to know too is like as program coordinators, we talk to each other too. So I have somebody in Stamford right now. So she might actually be a better match for somebody in New York. Yep. Or if I have somebody in like Eastern Connecticut, they might be better off in somebody in Massachusetts. So we have a network of people that we are always there to help each other. And I might say, hey, I have a mentor, I have a mentee, and we kind of reach out that way. Because, I mean, ultimately our goal is to match as many people as possible and to make great matches. So sometimes it happens across state lines. Because it might actually be
amazing.
Closer.
And it's so wild that we've never heard of each other.
I know.
But we're so close in our alignment and our goals and missions. And I'm just excited to talk with you, Christina. Thank you for being here. Tommy, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having us.
This is a wonderful... And we're getting to know each other on the podcast. That typically doesn't happen either. And I also want to thank my friend Katie for setting this up. I wish she could be here. Thank you, Katie. We're thinking of you. She's all right.
She's great.
Right. Her husband,
I've met him yet.
You haven't?
No, I haven't met him yet. No,
better that you don't. Better that you don't.
But I have to shout out to Katie too. She is an awesome mentor right now, and she is mentoring this young girl, and they have such an amazing connection. And I've actually heard from the mentee's father as well, and saying how just amazing Katie is for their whole family. So it's just shows you how much a mentor really can be have that impact.
Katie lost her mom, right?
She did
at an early age.
She did.
Yeah. Oh wow, I just
yep. So
makes complete sense.
Yeah.
Now,
so that's why she's like, you need to meet my friend Eric, because
her dad's Kip, I think, and they have like he must have remarried, but anyway. Katie would be here to explain.
She would.
Her husband, we call him Army Dan.
Okay.
Dan has been I was in the Army National Guard. Dan was in the Army National Guard. And I don't know if there were 2 Dans, but which Dan are you talking about?
Yeah.
Army Dan. So shout out to Army Dan. He's all right. I was just busting him. Katie, wonderful person.
Yeah.
Dan outkicked the coverage with that one. I had some mentors like Nancy Sohn is the reason we started.
Okay.
Friends of Feeney. She lost her husband. Gabby Sohn was the student, lost her father. So I thought maybe those were 2 great mentors.
Yeah.
But Nancy was podcast 5. Gabby Sohn was podcast 27, and they talked about their experience. Nancy from a wife losing husband. Gabby about losing a mom. Dejan Milner lost his dad. Elvin Gilchrist lost her dad. So just some people that have had loss and were on previously on the podcast. And Evan specifically said, I mean, I wish this was here when.
I know. And that's kind of like how it happens too. It's just like this ripple effect where you hear, like, you're like, oh my gosh, I know 5 people that I've just talked to that have had this happen to them and they would be great mentors, or I know of this family who needs some support. And that's kind of where it happens. There's a lot of word of mouth and things like that happen. And you just never know who's going to be in the room when you're having these conversations. And I've learned to really talk more about it, which I didn't always talk about, but now I do, because I'm realizing it could really be beneficial to somebody who didn't know to even ask about it or to even share that information.
I mean, that's a common bond that not many people go through, or that's just knowing that someone has been through that
Right.
is a strong start to a relationship. And I give you a lot of credit. You're both working full-time, teacher,
Yep.
Police officer, detective. People always say, where do you find time, Feeney? I'm like, well, it's a busy time.
Right.
It's serving a purpose for a good cause. We could be busy doing nonsense, but we're trying to help as many people as we can. We're really excited to partner, really excited to collaborate. And again, I'm so happy that you're here.
Thank you.
We're happy to be here. This is great. We're excited to collaborate too.
And we have some sponsors I'd like to shout out. Keating Agency Insurance, Float 41, The Fix IV, Luna Pizza, Golf Law Group, People's Bank, Parkville Management, and West Hartford Lock.
Nice.
Any of those ring a bell? You see any of those? Or know any of those?
I know a few. Yeah.
Golf law firm. She's all over the place.
She's all over.
You know her from all the billboards
Yeah.
all over the place, right?
That's Brooke.
Right. Yep.
Brooke, thank you for your continued support.
Yeah.
She's wonderful. She's sponsoring our golf tournament. She sponsors the podcast. She was a podcast guest. Good person, good heart. And with West Hartford Lock, what are 3 keys that make you a great program coordinator? Tommy, get ready, because 3 keys on a mentor is coming up next. 3 keys.
That one's a tough one. Probably to be. I definitely need to get to know everybody. We definitely do that. That's the biggest thing about being program coordinator. So it's being thoughtful about who you're talking to, knowledgeable about Empower.
Yep.
And I think opening up about your own loss is really important, because that puts families at ease right away. So I always start off with sharing my own story about my mom and losing my mom. And that really helps.
Come on through. You're
them
fine.
know.
Sorry. You want to pop on? No? Okay. No, so yeah, the personal connection,
Yep.
being a knowledgeable content,
Yep.
knowledge, and
Being
knowing.
Thoughtful and knowing the families. Yeah.
That's teacher
Yeah.
talk. It was too easy.
Yeah.
Too good. Great job, Christina.
Thanks.
Tommy, 3 keys that make you a great future mentor.
I think number one, you have to want to be involved in wanting to share your time, share your experiences, sharing your loss with your mentee. Number 2, being there for them outside of the loss. Again, like I told you, that it's really not just about the grief. It's about making, in my case, that young man grow up to be a strong man. Young woman, young girl growing up to be a strong woman. And I think that those core values, you have to have that to really put in the mentorship, to be there for them.
Yeah.
That's only 2, really, huh? I got to get another one. I don't have a third. I think
Phone
that,
a friend.
Yeah, right. I think that again, I don't even want to say that it's a passion. It's really has to come from your heart.
Yeah.
To do something like this and to be there for
Like
them.
a calling or just
Yeah.
That's the reason why I'm here today. They asked would I come and join Christina, and it's absolutely, I want to get the word out there that people, that we're here for families, we're here for kids of mother loss or father loss.
Yeah.
So, do I have a third one?
Yeah. I mean, I think passion is important.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah,
think that
definitely.
really well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are great. 3
Yeah.
keys. I know I felt, now I feel weird, because I'm like, oh, my parents were divorced.
Right.
But you guys lost a parent. So
Right.
that's like, I empathize knowing how it could have felt, but I could never imagine. I say it all the time. So
Right.
I'm thinking of you now, and you know how challenging that and difficult that must have been for you. But I think it's very powerful and commendable that you're giving back. So thank you again. We're going to
Appreciate
keep
that.
Thank
thanking
you.
you for being here.
And thank you for having us.
Yeah. And no, I'm having a good time chatting. Let's talk about your event. Big event coming up.
We do have a big event coming up.
AquaTurf.
AquaTurf.
Great sponsors. Great
Amazing
people at the
sponsor.
AquaTurf.
Yes.
Southington, Connecticut. Shout out to Southington.
Yeah.
Shout out to Southington.
Yep.
Are you from? Where are you born and raised?
All over actually, but I'm now down at the shoreline. I'm in Old Saybrook, but I grew up in Stafford, so
Okay.
up here a little bit.
And where do you teach?
I teach in Madison right now.
Hand or no?
Polson Middle School,
Oh,
and then
middle
I'm also
school.
at the intermediate school, Brown.
Nice.
Yeah.
Is Hand the only high school?
Hands the only high school.
Okay, because one of my former students and neighbors, my neighbor, Tom and Quark. Thomas Quark is a teacher at the high school in
Okay.
Madison. He drives to Madison every day from West
Wow.
Hartford.
It's a drive.
Yeah. And then Southington, we did some shout outs on, AquaTurf, Sam the Clams. Is there a new brewery in Southington?
You got I don't know, no, new Kinsman Brewing, Witch Doctor Brewing.
Yeah.
What else we have? I think there's another
That's
one.
your territory.
Yeah. I don't get out much anymore. I got 2 kids.
Yeah.
Do you have children?
I do.
How
I
many?
have 2 boys.
2 boys. I have
Yep.
twin girls.
Nice.
2 girls.
2 girls.
Yeah.
Girl dad.
Yep.
My son's name's Eric. He was very excited that I was
Hey.
meeting another Eric.
Great name, kid.
And
Make me
Evan.
proud
and
out
Evan.
there.
Gotta say Evan
Is
too.
it with a C or a K?
With a C.
I like
Just-
this guy.
Just like yours.
Eric. ERIC.
Yeah.
Man, he's gonna grow up to be a fantastic human
That's
being.
what I told him. Yeah.
So the Luminaria.
Yep. I know.
I need that hyphenated. Luminaria
Yes.
event Thursday, May 29th.
hmm
AquaTurf,
Yep. So it's
hosted by Bob Maxon.
So our event, the gala, is on the 29th of May. There's 2 parts. So one's the Luminaria, which is outside, which is open to the general public. Or you can also purchase tickets for our gala event.
Oh,
which is
same day?
Same day.
So you kind of do the Luminaria
Yep.
and then move in.
You got it. Yep.
Now is that when you light a bag and put a
Yep.
flower in a bag, or?
So they do a candle. Yep. So
Yep.
they line. It's very nice. The gardens. If you've ever been to AquaTurf or anything, they have beautiful gardens.
Yeah.
And so they line all of the gardens with these bags and has your loved one's name on it. Could be in memory or in honor of somebody.
Okay.
And right when it gets to be right about dusk time, if anybody's in the gala that would like to go out to see Luminaria, they kind of like venture out to the gardens and they
I
see
love
it.
it.
So yeah, it's absolutely beautiful if you've never seen
Yeah, we
it.
had Deb and Gary from For All Ages. They're another nonprofit. They help partnering the retiring community with young people through pen pals, but they do a luminary thing in Simsbury, I think. But I think that's awesome, beautiful. It must be great for pictures.
It's beautiful, actually. It's on
that-
that.
okay,
That's
let's
what
see.
that-
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
that's kind
beautiful.
of like what it's on right
Ooh,
there.
we're gonna get a nicer picture for this, and it's gonna be right here. Boom.
Yeah.
Right, Stefania. Boom.
So, and there's also Luminaria in many other different places too. Then, if you go
I know
onto the website,
this is nationwide.
yeah. So if you go on
Different
their website,
nights?
different nights, different locations. So there might even be one that you are.
Have you
near.
been to one outside of the Connecticut one?
I have not. I've only been to Connecticut. And actually, this is actually Connecticut's only second Luminaria. Boston is very big. I know Washington D.C. was very big too.
Now, is this a real word, Luminaria, or did you guys make that up?
Luminaria. I don't know. I thought it
I
was a
don't
real
know.
word.
I only teach 3rd grade, so I don't know. And how many years? This is the 2nd annual?
So this is our 3rd annual
Third
gala, but our 2nd annual of doing Luminaria in Connecticut. Yep.
And you could also be a sponsor, and there's a
can.
sponsor sheet.
Yep.
Get it in soon because it's May 29th.
May 29th. That's right. Yep.
April's around the corner.
That's right.
Definitely looking for sponsors.
Yeah.
Got the champion sponsor, trailblazer, legacy, visionary, innovator, ambassador, and friend.
So this is our only fundraiser for the whole year that we do for the state of Connecticut, in the state of Connecticut. And, you know, as you mentioned before, all of our programming is free for all of our families. So this is why it's really important. It's also a lot of fun at the event too. You know, like you said, Bob Maxon's going to be our MC this year. We have lots of silent auction items. We have raffles. We usually do like a text to give during the event as well. And of course, I mean, the food and the appetizers are top notch.
Yep. I said we have been to a couple proms, couple weddings. The AquaTurf, they know how to do it. The food is amazing. And thank you, AquaTurf, for being such generous sponsors. It's 6:30 to 10, May 29th.
Yep.
Doesn't really say cost per ticket.
So it's $75
Okay.
for one ticket, or you can get 2 tickets for $100.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you can also buy a table of 10 for $1,000.
Nice.
So, yeah, it's all, and you can also buy your Luminaria bags too. They're $25 for a bag for Luminaria.
Okay.
Yeah, and you can do that all on our website. There's a link right there.
That's amazing. Well, I'm going to check my schedule.
Well,
I
we're
would
gonna
love
write you
to
down.
attend.
We're gonna write you down.
I really appreciate the invitation. This truly means a lot.
Both Tommy and I are both on the committee for that too, so we're working on planning that. It takes, when did we start? Like November? We
November
started?
this year. We started.
Oh,
early.
for something
Yeah.
in May, yeah.
For something
Yeah.
in May, yeah. So we've
Yeah.
been
We
practicing.
do a golf tournament. And
Yeah.
we start, 9 months before
Yeah.
the event.
I mean, we really
There's
started
so much-
planning in like June probably,
Yeah.
but
So much, probably the day after the
yeah,
last
the
one.
day after the last one,
Nope,
yeah.
been there, done that.
So getting the date set. Once
Yeah.
we get that date set, we're like, all right, get the sponsors.
Full
out.
speed
We're
ahead.
definitely
Full
looking
speed
for
ahead.
Sponsors.
Yes.
All right,
sure.
$25 a bag, $75 a ticket, or $100 for 2.
Yep.
Bob Maxon's funny. I like him a lot.
He's great, yeah. And
I think his wife's in education.
yeah.
I could be wrong. Had drinks with one of them at Frida's in it's a Mexican restaurant in West Hartford. Funny guy.
Yeah. So yeah, we're very excited to have him on board this year.
How is he as a meteorologist? What do you think his percentages are? Is he a good one?
I mean, I think he's pretty good. Yeah, they're Connecticut's most reliable weather team, right?
He's our sponsor, right?
Yeah.
For the event. I think he's one of the best meteorologists
Yeah.
that there's around.
Ever.
Yes.
I love
Top
it.
notch.
Bob Maxon. We got to send this clip to Bob Maxon.
Yeah.
Bob Maxon, you're a good friend.
Yes.
Be a good friend. That's our motto. Be a good friend. Hold the door. Pick up trash that's not yours. Give compliments. Be charitable. And host events, Bob. So thank you, Bob. This is great. No, I hope to be there. I'm going to check the schedule. Maybe Matt could come too. This is Matt. He's on the board of directors.
Hi, Matt.
How are you doing, Matt?
He's going to need a picture of you after.
Okay.
He does the our thumbnails. Have you collaborated with any other podcasts? Podcasts or nonprofits?
So we've done a little work with the Cove in Connecticut. They're kind of the same idea of the mission is about parent loss, but they're more therapeutic. We're non-therapeutic. So
Okay.
I've worked with Brooke Viens over there, who's the program coordinator, and we've kind of talked a little bit, kind of like you do what I don't do, and I do what you don't do. So I'll send you families, you send me families.
Nice.
So that's been a great partnership.
How long has that collaboration been going on?
A little bit over a year now.
Nice.
So yeah.
And where's the Cove out of?
They have like 4 or 5 different locations. I think there's one actually out of West Hartford. I know there's one down in Madison
Nice.
area. So they're all over the state of Connecticut. So it's really nice. So
Brooke, maybe Brooke Viens could be a podcast guest. Brooke,
that would be
let's
a
go.
good that would be a good get.
be a good friend. Be a
Yep.
friend of Feeney.
I'll share your info.
Please do. Well, there's always strength in numbers, and when there's the collaboration piece, that's when you reach more people,
Yep.
and you're covering bases that, like you said, you do the mentorship, they do something
Yep.
else, and you come together for a common good. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
I know because it says, 1 in 12 children
Yeah.
experience death of a parent or sibling before the age of 18.
Yeah.
Geez, that's like
Startling
for
statistic.
real. Like, that's surreal, for real.
Yeah.
So it's very important that what Empower does.
Yeah, and I mean, like we just started talking about it, and even you're like, oh, I know this person and that person, and that's kind of like it's there's so many people that are impacted by it. So when you really start to like look at it, you're like, oh wow, there's a lot more people. There's people that are just like me, and that's really the whole point. Like to really let other people know that they're not alone. And
Yeah.
You're going to get through this, and it's survivable. I think it's the biggest thing. A lot of youth think, I don't know how I'm going to survive this. And it's like when you get somebody like Tommy as your mentor, and you're like, oh, you're amazing. You know, like you're going to be okay. And it's, you know, it's survivable. So I was partnered. I was a mentee and a mentor. I'm still a mentor, I should say, too. That's how I started in Empower. And it was actually during COVID when I was matched up, and we did my mentee actually lives in New Mexico. So we were one of the first virtual matches, because that's what we kind of had to pivot during like COVID. And we matched with Abby in New Mexico and Albuquerque area. And we still talk. And, you know, I'll send her things like now with text, you know, it's been a few years now, but she's from Southington originally.
Oh, okay.
So I've actually met her in person a couple of times. She's come to our gala event a couple years ago. I know her grandmother, she's in Southington. But it's kind of funny because it's like, you don't really notice, you know, how much you're going to have like an impact on somebody.
Yeah.
And, she's texted me maybe a month ago and said, hey, I did that thing that you told me to do where I was having a really hard day, and I wrote a letter to my mom, and we're a little bit of a time difference. So I was sleeping when she had texted it, and I woke up and I just started like crying, because I'm just like, you just don't know how much of an impact you're going to have.
Yeah.
And sometimes they're teenagers and they don't tell you. But that moment when I was like, it was all worth it. Like every little bit that I do. And I'm like,
And you probably said it like way before, and it took
way
some time to
before.
process.
Way
and
before. It was like
she did it when
years.
she was ready.
Yeah. And when she was
But
ready.
she knew she heard you. And
she
it's
heard
like,
me, and she shared
yeah.
that. And it was just,
Wow.
It was amazing.
Validated and
Yeah.
confirmed. But that's amazing. I love the personal stories. Thank you for sharing
Yeah.
that. That's great. And because everyone handles it different, but your advice worked for you, and then maybe she had time to process, and then she tried it. So
Yeah.
no, I worked in a group of students when I was at college at Southern, group of 10 kids. And, you know, that was 30 years ago, and I'm still in touch with maybe 2 or 3. So
Yeah.
that bond lasts forever.
Yeah.
So I know the strength on that. He was a single family home, and, you know, lived in the Church Street South projects, in and out of incarceration, but we're like, I'm there for him if he needs me. So I just know that bond's forever. He's like
exactly.
he's like a kid, my child almost.
Yeah.
But the connection is great. It's like, we need more of that in this world.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yep. I told her she's stuck with me forever. So.
Yeah.
Whether she likes it or not, you know.
How old is she now?
She's a senior in high school right
Wow.
now. So that's navigating that too. Like, how do you navigate high school graduation? And, you know, and there's going to be time, and I recall that too. Like, how do you navigate things like that? Big milestone moments, you know, getting engaged, you know, buying a wedding dress, having your baby. Like, so there's like things that like she doesn't even know she's going to need. And just to be like somebody who's gone through that and to navigate that
you're going to be her person
Yeah,
for all those big
right.
milestones.
Right. And I'm so
Wow.
happy to be her person. Yeah.
That's great. Touching, like getting the feels, getting the feels. I love it. Get the chills. I don't want to get personal, but would you like to share how that was for you, how you navigated losing a loved one, and how, if Empower was there for you when you were younger, how your path may have differed? I don't know, Tom or Christina like to share.
Yeah.
And maybe personally, like how you lost that person, if you don't mind sharing that too.
Yeah. So my mother, Marilyn, passed when I was 12 years old. Unfortunately, my parents had built a house rather, and when they built the house, my father worked for a corporation for many, many years, lost his job, and 2 days later, my mom passed away, massive heart attack. My dad used to say, never sick a day in her life. She was the entertainment one. She always wanted to entertain, have people at the house and everything. And it was a sudden. My sister Amy and I were on vacation with our cousins when it happened. So my oldest sister Jen was there. Unfortunately, I had to go through and help my dad with everything that happened. We got a call the next day and went home to find out. And your whole world's upside down. You know, again, at 12 years old, I sometimes think, like, if I was older, what would you do? What would I have done differently? And the first thing I would have done was said, hey, Dad, let's get rid of this house. This house is, nice big house that he was able to buy and afford to build. And now you basically had 2 incomes lost, and even at that, we don't need this big space anymore. Let's try and, so there's a lot of different things involved in it. And like I had said earlier, is the grief going through the therapy of it. Again, I was 12 years old, and this woman's there trying to help us process this, and we're passing the tissues around, and she can't even really hold it together. And so that kind of scarred me a little bit. Kind of put me at like, well, if this lady doesn't seem to be able to help herself, how's she going to help me? And not that I discredit therapy and going to talk with somebody. I talk with someone with my work background and everything. Just at that time, you didn't have anybody. You didn't have anybody else that was going through it. So I wanted to be with my buddies, and my dad was like basically giving us money to go to the apple harvest festivals in town, and to get our minds off it. That's what he knew, the best to do.
Yeah, staying busy.
It was like stay busy. Go to the movies. Can we do this, that? So it wasn't until I was a little older till I was like, okay, I need to process this, and I did speak out more about it to friends, family, things like that. And then really through my career in law enforcement, starting to deal with different calls, natures of calls, it was like, okay, there's a saying, that bucket is going to fill up, and if you don't empty that bucket yourself, it's going to overflow. So I'm big in peer support with the police department, with dealing with officers with tragic events and situations and stuff. So that is really when I started to learn, like, hey, I need to take care of myself. So started seeing therapists, started talking about it more, and that's just it. Like, if I had that knowledge to know that, hey, people are there for you, there's somebody that knows what you're going through. I learned at a very early age, okay, I lost my mom, like I said, and then it was like, poor me. Why did this have to happen to me? And, a year and a half later, I was like, wow, like this girl just lost both of her parents. So it's not, I have it bad. Yeah. Somebody else has worse situations, so it's a good program to.
So say you didn't have, sorry to cut you off. Say you didn't have the woman passing around tissues crying. Say you had an Empower mentor there for you.
Yeah.
How do you think your path?
Yeah. So I really think that would have changed maybe not my perspective on it from what had happened, but yeah, I think realizing like, okay, like, I don't know, am I saying this right? Like, I could normalize this. In normalizing, I mean, like, unfortunately, it's part of life. It's what happens, right?
Yeah.
Nobody wants it to happen, but it is a part of life that, the cards that you're dealt, if you will. And, this is how, hey, listen, there are ways to cope with this. You are not, as Cara says, you are not alone in this grief.
And how you strategically plan mentors with mentees, I think they would have matched someone up with you.
So that's what we try to do is
like
we
if
match.
You like sports, they would have got you a sports guy.
More specific to a boy that lost a mom.
Yeah.
So I will be a mentor to a boy that lost his mother.
Yes.
Yep.
You try and do the same age, but I mean, if the boy was older, the boy is younger, at least you're relating to. I'm a man, or I was a young boy that lost his mother as well. So
Yep.
I could say I relate. I know what you're going through.
Yeah.
Because
as a mentee, like, oh, what do you know?
Right.
Like,
Exactly.
you don't know what I'm going through. Well, yes, I know exactly what you're going through. So that's very strong.
Exactly.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing personal.
Yes. No problem.
So kind of similar, but I was 11 when I lost my mom. It was sudden. She went to bed, it was fine, and she just never woke up. It was, she died of a heart attack, a enlarged heart, so like a heart attack. We didn't know she was sick. My brother was 8, my sister was 1, and my dad was by himself navigating 3 kids under 11, and it was, I basically just kind of stepped up right away into being in that mom role. And my sister, was being 1, a baby. There was, I was in 6th grade, which it's interesting because now I'm a 6th grade teacher. So you wonder, like, does that have some sort of impact on where I landed? And I mean, I relate to those kids. I know those kids, very well. I know what it's like to be having that, to not have somebody at that age. And I think it was hard because we just never talked about it. And I think that and I always thought it was not okay to talk about it. Like, I just felt like it was like almost like I was embarrassed to talk about it. And I think that I know for a very long time I didn't talk about it. Probably like 27 years I really didn't talk about it. Like I am now. Like, this is like mind-blowing that I'm here having this conversation with you, because that just never happened. And until I found Empower, and actually my husband found it for me. It was just when it started in Connecticut. It was right around Mother's Day. They were running a piece on the news, and he's yelled to me, "You got to turn the TV on." And I turned the TV on and I saw it, and I was like, I've been waiting for this my entire life. Like, where has this been? And as soon as I saw it, I was like, I need to be involved in this immediately. And I applied right away to be a mentor that day. And I couldn't wait to, like, I wanted to be somebody, and I just knew that I could help somebody, because I needed to, as much as I wanted, it was for me too, in a way. And to now be here and talking about my mom, and just about how it's okay to talk about grief, and it's okay to talk about loss, is powerful. And it's just, that's what we want to be with Empower. And I say all the time, man, I wish somebody could have told me, hey, you're going to get through it. Like, it's survivable. Yeah. And to be able to turn to a girl and say that to them, you're going to be okay. You're going to get through this. Don't get me wrong, there's going to be days that are terrible and that are really, really tough, but you're going to be okay. And that's just,
You can't hear it in our voices and us talking. This here helps us.
Yeah.
This here, knowing that people are going to hear and say, hey, listen, we're out here. You're not alone. We're here to help you with a mentee, or become a mentor. Like, it's therapeutic for us as well. As well as we're not a therapeutic organization, we're there for people, but it really is like
a two-way
once
street.
You get to talking to your mentee and talking to other people that have dealt with this, it takes a little bit of that weight off to say, yeah, you're not alone, and listen, we're all helping each other.
Yeah. Cara likes to say, share the weight.
Yeah.
Right? We share the weight with each other. So.
Share the weight.
Yeah.
I like it. And that's weareempower.org.
Yes.
Weareempower.org. Beautiful website, beautiful things going on. Let's talk about the importance of, so I didn't really realize it, but now it's like the Mother's Day event.
Yeah.
Everyone, that's a huge day for someone that lost their mom, because it's a reminder. And so what goes on at a Mother's Day event, because they're annual and they seem to bounce around at different locations.
Yeah, so the last year was at Gillette Stadium. This year is also going to be at Gillette Stadium. And anybody with any type of mother loss can come. So it can be a boy of mother loss or a girl of mother loss can come to the event free of charge. And they have a whole day's planned event. It starts really early in the morning and goes all the way to through the afternoon. That's actually how it started. Cara actually originally started with, that was her kind of like seed idea, where she was like, hey, I'm going to take a couple girls away for the day on Mother's Day and just have a good day, because Mother's Day is terrible, right? Like, it's the worst day. And it's not just Mother's Day anymore. It starts in like April, when you see all the commercials for Mother's Day, and it's like the stores have all it. What are you going to buy your mother? And it's like, or you're a teacher, you're at school, you're like, oh, we're going to make a poem for your mom. It's like, it's just in your face all the time. So her idea was, I'm going to take these couple girls, we're going to go to a hotel, we're going to get pampered, I'm going to teach them how to do their hair and their makeup, things that they might not know how to do, and just have a good time. And yeah, we can talk about mom if that comes up, but I want it to be just like, I want to lighten their load, like kind of, share the load for them. And that's how it started. So now this is like the anchor event is the Mother's Day retreat. And then when we expanded from EmpowerHER to Empower, it now became a Father's Day retreat too. So same kind of idea, still held at Gillette on Father's Day.
Do you go inside Gillette or around the outside?
So I'm trying to think. I actually didn't go to the Gillette we used to have one in Connecticut for the past couple of years, and then last year they moved it to Gillette. Being a mom, it's hard to go to Gillette Stadium on Mother's Day because I have my own 2 kids now, but I know they've opened up different sections of Gillette. Like I know they went into like the museum area, and they have huge rooms there.
Because the home base of We Are Empower is in Massachusetts, the headquarters.
Correct. It's in Massachusetts, and there's Massachusetts is a very large chapter, so that's where they're doing it.
And that's where Cara's from originally?
Cara's from Southington originally, but now
Southington.
she's in Scituate, Massachusetts.
Gotcha.
Yep. So yeah, so the most there's a lot of, like I said, the chapter for Boston is rather large, so they do it in that
Nice.
Boston area. But anybody from Empower can go. So we're actually this year trying to get some girls to come up, to on that day to. Actually, our Jeff Kimbo, who is amazing, he said he'd drive a van of all the girls up. So we're going to see if we can get a bunch of girls from Connecticut to go up this year to
Nice.
Gillette. So it's a long day. It's a powerful day. But it's one of those bucket filling days for sure when you leave and you're like, that was amazing.
And you could look and you're like, everything.
Everybody's
I'm not
like,
alone.
Not alone.
That's like key because I've heard it many times that you felt alone. But now when you're surrounded by so many people.
Yep. Not alone. Loss is survivable. Yep.
Loss is survivable. Okay.
Yeah.
And what's the running events? I know you do a couple of running events.
Yep. So you can sponsor. I think there's a Falmouth Road race that they do.
Nice.
So anybody at any race can always sign up to be like Team Empower, and you pledge to like
I think
raise
I ran
money.
a Falmouth race.
Maybe, yeah.
Is it the Cape Cod?
Cape Cod, yeah, that one.
The road race, Cape
Yep.
Cod?
I think so.
I did
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I think it's a 10K.
Yes.
Or a 5K.
I think.
Really?
I think it might be a 10.
Or a half marathon.
No, I don't know if it's a half. But it
I beat
doesn't
my
matter.
Cousins. I beat my cousins. Rich
That's
and
all that
Sarah.
matters.
Rich and Sarah, I beat you. It was 2010 too. I think it's been a while. I'm going to Cape Cod in a couple weeks during
Nice.
spring
break.
Yes, can't wait. Falmouth.
Yeah, but any road race, you just sign up to be an Empower, and you pledge money, and then they actually send you shirts and things like that to wear too for the race.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I know. Speaking of swag, I got some stickers I'd like to give you. Be a good friend's our motto. And while we're doing this, Cara, I said earlier, pick up trash, hold the door, be charitable. What makes Cara, who started this, what makes her a good friend?
Man, she's everything. I mean, she's why we're here today, sitting here, and she took a risk.
Thank you.
She really, she knew what she wanted, and she said, I'm gonna take a risk on this. And her husband was, super supportive. He's great. And he was like, okay, like do it. And ever since then, she's just never looked back. And she's driven, and she knows what she wants, and she sees how much she helps everybody.
Is she committed full time to this, or does she have like another job?
I believe this is
full time.
This is
for
it.
her.
This is
Full-time
full
for
time.
her.
This is her jam.
Yep.
She does it. She does it well. So
Yeah.
she's Well, thank you. And we have a little something for you too.
Oh, all right.
So thank you for having us.
This is
And
great.
on behalf of
Love
Empower.
the swag. Empower. Nope. Teachers. Teacher needs it. Empower.
Yeah.
I love the choice. Empower. It's definitely, it's like catchy and it gets the point across. We're empowering. Any, thank you for this.
You're welcome. Thank you for having us.
Any things that you think I missed or things that you'd like to share or recommendations, closing remarks, sponsors.
Please sponsor our event coming up at the Aqua Turf in May 29th. We're always looking for sponsors. All the proceeds go to help us do these events and the mentorship program. We're trying to do, as we get more mentees and the boys, I'm trying to get yard goats games, to get these, kids to go to, hey, let's go to a baseball game or let's go to a Wolfpack game.
Yeah.
Do a pickup wiffle ball game, things like that,
Great.
So we're trying to also look for mentors. If you're 25 and older, you've had experience of mother loss or father loss, and you would, interested in become a mentor, we're really looking for mentors as well. We're always looking for volunteers for our events too. If you haven't experienced the, a loss of a parent, you could still help out with volunteering for some of these events. We're always looking for people to help us out. So everything's there. We are empower.org,
Right.
right?
We are empower.org. Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, it's just a ripple effect. So that's the best way we get our mentors and our mentees is just by word of mouth, podcasts like this. So thank you for having us. And I look forward to partnering with you. And
Yeah.
our missions align. So it's perfect.
Please like and share it on social media when we post it out. It's going to be on YouTube, Spotify, and all the streaming platforms. Put it on your website, share with friends. And just some questions. You hit one on the head, but do you know someone that's 25 years old or older?
Mm-hmm.
So we're looking for mentors. Do you know any youth that have experienced tragedy so they could be a mentee? And we're looking for companies to donate and be a nonprofit. And this is important. I felt like this talked about a lot. I mean, you don't have parent loss. It's okay. We have volunteers at a variety of ways. Oh, no, I thought you were going to say you're not alone. I thought I started to read, but I read that wrong. But yeah, you are not alone.
Nope.
But if you don't have parent loss, you could still volunteer.
Right. So we have some people that are really passionate about, Cara's mission and Empower's mission, and they don't personally have that parent loss connection, but they still want to give back. And we have a lot of volunteers that help run our programs. Because I mean, it takes a lot to run a gala or even like a small event, like a cooking class or like a wiffle ball tournament. Like it takes planning, and those people, we're volunteer driven, and without the volunteers we wouldn't be able to do what we do. So, and we always want to serve as many possible youth as possible, and so we just want to get out there and help as many people as we can.
Yeah. All right, you heard it here first. Become a volunteer, become a mentor. Don't forget, this is a nonprofit, and their mission is help kids, teens, and young adults who have experienced heartbreaking loss of a parent. And they do this through community services, one-on-one, over 700 people, 700 children and young adults in Connecticut.
Oh,
Huge event coming.
700 nationwide. Sorry.
No. Oh, in nationwide. Yep.
Yep.
There's that reading part again.
Over 50 in Connecticut. Over 50 in Connecticut.
52 in Connecticut.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. But, Tommy's waiting for a mentee. So it's like, we could have a lot of mentors and then not a lot of mentees. So we're always looking for both. So.
And I'll have to do, as a teacher for 21 years, quickly before we go, who's your favorite teacher? Do you have a favorite teacher?
I do. Her name was Mrs. Knight. She was my 5th grade teacher. I loved it. She read the BFG and we got to drink hot chocolate. It was like the best.
Yes.
Mrs. Countryman, 1st grade.
Mrs.
Got
Countryman.
it right off the hop. She was just an awesome teacher. I'll never forget her.
Yeah.
And now she's one of my neighbors. She's actually
Look
like
at that.
two the street down. She comes walking through the neighborhood.
Will you send it to her?
I'll send it to her. Absolutely.
That's awesome.
Favorite teacher. Well, thank you for being such great teachers. You leave a lasting memory for students. I hope to be someone's favorite teacher someday. 21-year teacher, 16-year vet of the. You're on the job.
I am.
That's cop talk for working.
Yeah.
See. But again, I can't thank you enough for being here. Wonderful learning more about weareempower.org. Again, Bob Maxon's going to be there May 29th. We're going to get him on the podcast. Let's say, we usually end by saying be a good friend, but let's say empower first and then be a good friend.
All right.
1, 2, 3.
Empower,
Be a good friend.